It's pretty obvious that over the past few years, Ubisoft has failed in terms of making the amount of money they've needed to. Skull and Bones, X Defiant, Star Wars Outlaws, and Assassin's Creed Shadows were all games that recently released that were complete and utter failures. But now it seems that they are trying to hide their numbers because they are stopping sharing sales data with one of the leading analyst firms. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, one of the major reasons why companies love the Ubisoft subscription services and the PlayStation Pluses and the Game Passes is because they can bump up their player numbers. They can say, oh, well, we engaged 10 million players when really they only sold like 2 million copies. It's a easy way to lie to their investors, but Ubisoft has been called out on this for basically every one of their major launches over the past 2 years, and now it seems that they are trying their best again to hide their numbers. They actually previously demanded that like Steam stop reporting numbers on their titles, but now they're also pulling back from sharing game sales figures with an analyst firm, one of the leading ones in the industry actually. So it says despite their desperate attempt to make a comeback, Ubisoft still couldn't hit the mark with the recent Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's truly a shame that they are putting billions and billions of dollars into games that people don't want, because I used to love Assassin's Creed and I'd love another amazing Assassin's Creed game. I loved Star Wars previously, and I'd love for them to make a game that reaches the heights of even something recently released like Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. Those were fun, exhilarating, cool games, but Outlaws failed, Shadows failed, and then when they put a lot of money into new series like Skull and Bones and X Defiant, well, those didn't go anywhere either, and really they are the only reason why they are failing at this point, because gamers have given them so much feedback on what we like in games, what we don't like in games. When we see something we don't like, we're very vocal. You would think that they would take all of that information and run with it, but instead they completely block it out and they're getting what they deserve. It says though, while the latter was a success in the publisher's book, the same cannot be said for Outlaws. Regarding sales, Ubisoft has kept the official sales numbers for these games close to its chest, I think in part because they know that there will basically be a social media scandal. They really don't want people online talking about these sales numbers and really analyzing them, but they also want to be able to lie to investors, again, with things like Game Pass and Ubisoft Plus and PlayStation Plus. What they can do is they can say they engaged millions and millions of players, even if the sales are slim. It says, though, that this now has evolved because they've stopped sharing figures with other sources, such as the leading analyst firm Circana. For Ubisoft to stop sharing sales figures means that their recent titles performed poorly. Yeah, we're not just talking, they underperformed a little bit. We're talking catastrophe. They are embarrassed by these numbers, and they don't want gamers to be proven correct, because we said from the beginning these games weren't going to sell, and they were saying, no, 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 it'll be great. And now we've basically got confirmation that we were right. It says perhaps they're trying to control the sales narrative by not revealing figures and instead labeling the game's performance as good. Until June, Ubisoft was sharing data with Circana as Assassin's Creed Shadows came in third place as the best-selling game in the US. The title wasn't present in the July sales charts, not because the game sales dropped, but because Ubisoft stopped sharing data with Circana. Yeah, maybe they couldn't fake it anymore. On social media, Matt Piscatella, the executive director of Circana, had confirmed this, and this is, yeah, just not a good look for them, but we could tell that their titles are not particularly successful. As you can see on Steam charts, we've got Star Wars Outlaws all-time peak was 3,397, and yes, we do have to point out that this didn't launch on PC on the same day as the console versions, but 3,300 or nearly 3,400 is still abysmal. The 24-hour peak is 1,482, and playing as of 18 minutes ago was 978. And things also aren't looking good for Assassin's Creed Shadows, a game that has gotten DLC and has gotten updates, and they said that they were going to try to keep alive for a long time. The all-time peak was 64,627, which is not good for a company the size of Ubisoft. The 24-hour peak was 2,622, and playing 23 minutes ago was 2,163. Now, I believe a lot of the people who were playing on PC were via the subscription service, so they weren't buying individual copies, but either way, these numbers are still really freaking bad for a series the size of Assassin's Creed. You'd think that it would be 150, maybe 200,000 all-time peak, but that isn't the case. And now Ubisoft is clearly panicking. Their titles have not gone well. They are basically being raked across the coals by gamers every single time they post on social media or they even release something, and it's just not a good look for them. We know that they have been struggling to make their business boom again. I don't even really know if they could get back to those kind of golden days, but they're trying everything and everything is not working. I always say this. I think that companies need to stop developing projects in their series for a couple of years and really think over what they wanted to do. Imagine if that had happened with the MCU after Infinity War and Endgame. They stopped for like 5 years. Whatever they had released after that would have made billions of dollars because the hype levels were insane. But instead, companies are always worried about having a new project on the books and being able to make money every single year, which I do understand. But I think that for these big franchises, they should give it a little bit of time and really think out a solid plan so that they can keep people excited and around. Because when they are just, pumping out this slop, people get pushed away and they say, no, I really don't want to spend $70 on the latest Assassin's Creed that doesn't look innovative, doesn't look unique, doesn't have cool characters. And all they're doing is damaging their image. So, yeah, this is not a good look. Ubisoft's absence from this list could be to avoid negativity. Shadows and Outlaws attracted significant controversy, each due to their own issues. As such, dropping sales in the following month from these games' release could once again spiral hate from fans. Still, Ubisoft would have benefited from sharing sales data of games like Assassin's Creed Shadows. At least, if it truly did so amazing, like they've boasted, they could have proven us wrong. They could have showed the sales figures. They should have showed copies sold and not players engaged, which isn't what they did. Now, we have heard that Shadows was the EU's best-selling new release of 2025 and the second best-selling game in the US, but we still have a couple of months to go. I don't think that it's going to hold that spot, and still their refusal to share data paints a very bad picture for the French publisher. So I'll be keeping my eye on the situation. Maybe they'll come out and clarify. Maybe they'll make a statement. I highly doubt it, but as of right now, Ubisoft has stopped sharing sales data with the leading analyst firm Circana, and that to me screams that they are desperate to keep these numbers away from people, and they are afraid that gamers have, yes, been proven right yet again. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.